What's going on, Rovers? It's Mr. Shalat back with another video. All right, so today we're going to talk about dimensioning. We spent time in the last unit talking about dimensioning a lot. All right, when you were doing your puzzle cubes and you put dimensions on those. Well, when you dealt with the puzzle cubes, those were all straight lines. Okay, so everything that you were dealing with was straight lines and right angles. Now we move on to these ISO shapes. You have a lot of curves, you have a lot of circles and things like that. So I'm making you dimension two of these shapes on the sheet. All right. So I'm going to dimension one that I think looks as difficult, if not more difficult, than the ones that I've asked you to dimension. All right. And then with that, I just want you to see my thought process of going through and the process of putting those dimensions on when you're using OnShape. Okay. Because this isn't something you've done yet, dealing with circles and dealing with center lines and hidden lines and everything like that. So there's a lot of good tips you're going to see in this video. Although I'm not doing one of the pieces that you're doing, dimensioning, you're going to pick up all the tips and tricks that you need in order to dimension the ones that I'm asking you to do. All right. So let me share out my screen. We'll take a look at OnShape. All right. And make this a little bigger. All right. Here we go. So first thing we want to do is bring our part in. So you're going to get your drawing sheet going, and then we're going to go up to insert, and we're going to bring in our part. All right, so I am going to be dimensioning this particular shape. When you bring it in, you want to make sure that up top here, you have it set to the front view, okay? And it's going to be 1:1. All right, so 1:1 will fit on the page. 2:1 is gigantic and will not fit on our 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and bring this in. And when I drop this in, okay, you'll notice that I'm about an inch over and an inch up from the corner. All right. Now, once that first view is there, it's going to ask you, do you want to project off of that? So we're going to use that information and we'll come up top and we'll put our top view. And then you mouse over this again and you can slide out here. Okay. Click on it and slide out here. Now we can get our right side view. All right. And then we can come back over to that front view and click it again and drag up here to the corner. That's going to give us our nice isometric up here in the corner. All right. So that's what we need. So far, so good. Okay. When you bring this in, this doesn't have to be colored in. If you would like it to be, right click on it and you could shade it in. But it doesn't have to be. You can leave it black and white. All right. So looking at the drawing, the first thing I want to do before I forget, all right, and we learned this on the last project, you have to turn on the hidden lines. Right now, we're not seeing any hidden lines on our drawing. We want to make sure we turn those on. So to turn on those, what we're going to do, all right, is currently I'm still on the project tool. The project tool is when you click on the front view and then you can bring a different view over. We got to get out of that. So if you press the escape key on your keyboard, okay, that turns off the active tool. So that's not what I'm using anymore. And now I can, over top of the drawing, right click on it and choose show hidden lines. And I'm going to do that on all three views, show hidden lines. And now that I've done that, we can see the holes on the bottom here. Okay, we have our holes coming through in each of our views. Okay, so we need that. The next thing you want to do before you start dimensioning the drawing is you want to put your center marks in. Now, what a center mark is, it's going to mark the center of your hole. So anywhere that you have a hole that's appearing, you need to put a center mark. The center mark goes where the hole is, not where the hidden lines are. Okay, so for the center mark, okay, we come all the way, follow this all the way across to the right. It's a circle with a plus sign inside it. It's called center mark. And all you do is you come over and you click on the circle and it puts that little mini plus sign there in the middle. We're going to have to dimension to that. Okay, so we got to get those on our drawing to start off. And I'm just going to come across to every circle that I have on the drawing and put in all of my center marks. Okay, now Our right side view doesn't have any center marks because there's no holes on this particular drawing. Like if there was a hole here that went through that way, then we would have to, but we don't have that. Okay, so there's no center marks over here. You only put it where the holes are, and in this particular drawing, okay, um, it has 4 holes. Okay, some of our shapes have a slot, so if it's a long slot, like half a circle, and then 2 lines connect that, you would put the 2 center marks in there, even though it's not a circle and it becomes more of an oval. You have to have the center marks wherever you had those arcs. Okay, now our arcs on this particular one are based off of that center mark. When you drew this particular drawing, okay, that center mark was used to draw this circle and this arc. So I don't have a separate center mark for that. Okay, like if I come over and I click on that line, it doesn't put a center mark in because it's putting it right over top of the one that I already have there. Okay, keep that in mind. Okay, great. Let's talk about some dimensions now. Let's start putting dimensions on. Um, I've told you from day one, you always have to have your overall dimensions on the drawing. So why don't we put those on there first? Okay, we need our overall width, height, and depth. All right, so I'll come up, I'll choose dimension. Remember, dimension is that double arrow tool up there at the top, or it's D on your keyboard. All right, so if we go from this side to this side, and I pull this up here, okay, I'm going to place that right about there, okay, 2.5. All right, okay. Now, the overall height, when I go to do this, if I select from here up to the arc, okay, notice what it does, okay, as I go to pull this out here, I'll let it drop. Oops, back that up. All right, let's do that again. So if I dimension from the base up to the top there, notice it's using the center mark, okay? It's not using the top of the circle, and I will explain why in just a minute. So I'll drag that over, and that's going to be my overall dimension, okay? But it's not my overall, okay? It's only up to the center mark, and we'll talk about that in just a second, all right? So keep that in mind. All right, and then we need to know the depth. So the depth could be from here to this side, or it could be from here up to there. Well, with everything that we have going on with these circles, I'm going to do that over here, okay? Keep it away from that. So I'm going to come over and dimension from side to side, drop that right in the middle. Now, as I drag this up, okay, you could see that it snaps over there with the 2.5. Okay, so your overall, I'm going to make sure I have these two in alignment with one another. Okay, because they're both overalls, so they should be even. Okay, so now at this point, we're finished with that. Okay, we're finished with that. We can now put some other dimensions on our drawing. I want to focus, all right, I want to focus on our front view first, all right? So as we're dealing with the front view, right, we have dimensions selected, okay? There's a lot of different dimensions that we have to put on this, all right? Let's get this line right here. We can pull that out, okay, up to there. That's good, all right? So we went from the base up to here, and then we went from the base up to the center mark. We never dimensioned this arc, so we do need to dimension the arc. We can click on that, and with this, you have freedom of where you want to put this. You'll remember one of our guidelines is that we cannot cross lines, so you don't want the leader line there to cross through the overall of the 2.5. See how they're crossing there? So you have the freedom to put this anywhere you want within here. Okay, I'm going to sneak this up here in the corner where it's kind of out of the way. Okay, so we'll put that right there. So the radius of this is 0.5. Okay. We also have this circle here. Okay. So we need to dimension this circle. Well, when we go to do that, we can pull that and put that right up in here where we have room. Okay. I could slide it over here. Okay. I kind of like this. So when I'm doing this, I'm trying to get these kind of in alignment close to one another. All right. And then this coming over here to this point here, we don't have this dimension. Okay. Well, what did we forget? Well, we need a center mark on that. We need to know where that arc goes to. Okay. So you got to have that center mark on your drawing, just like it was on the original on the sheet. Okay. So again, we come in, we can put some more dimensions on this and can dimension um, that 0.5 there. Try and put them in alignment with one another. Those are looking good. Okay. And let's talk dimensions. Okay. So from this side over here to this side over here, okay, that distance is a distance of 1 inch. Okay. Now, normally we would come in and we could select this line and select that line and drop this in here just like that. We don't need that dimension. Okay. That's not a dimension you need because, okay, we know that this is 0.5, this arc. So from here to here is 0.5 and from here to here is 0.5. 0.5 added up with 0.5 is 1. That is an unnecessary dimension. Okay. It's very easy to over dimension these. That is not one we need because we have enough information on there to know that. Okay. So what else can we dimension here on our front view? And honestly, I don't think there's anything else. We have the overall height, the overall width. We have all of our arcs. We dimensioned the circle. Okay. What we do have to do is we have to modify our circle dimension there. Okay. So this particular circle is not just a circle, it's a through hole. It goes all the way through the shape. Okay. We know that because our hidden lines go all the way through the shape in our other two views. We need to denote that here on our front view. So what I would do is where it says 0.5, I'm going to double click on it, brings up the box. Okay. And then right here, you can actually type in THR, whoops, THRU. Come on. There we go. All right. Now, notice it's putting it before. I'm thinking if we type it down here, it'll put it after, which is where we want it. So caps lock. Yep. Perfect. All right. So this text box up top puts the text before. This down here puts the text after. All right. So we need the second one there. It is a through hole. All right. So we have that all good to go. We can hit enter. Oh, it went away. No, it wanted to put an extra line. How do we get rid of it? Press escape. Yeah. Okay. So to get rid of it, you just press the escape key and it will get rid of it for us. Okay. So let's take a look. What do we got? All right. And you can always make adjustments after the fact. You can come in and, you can move these arrows if they're too crowded. Okay. You can move them around. All right. So if you're not particularly happy with where it landed, you can always make those adjustments after. As long as these leader lines here don't cross, you're in good shape. I kind of put all of these kind of right in a row. Okay, looks nice and clean. I would say our front view at this point is done. We do not need to worry about our front view anymore. We can shift over to our right side view. So I'll turn on dimension and we need to put some dimensions on here. Okay, so from here to here, that's a dimension that we're going to need. Okay, drop that right there, 0.5. Height dimensions are already taken care of for us. Okay, so if we look over here to this side, we know what the overall height is from the information on this drawing. We don't need to do the overall height. Okay, we don't need to go from here to here because We already did that over here in this drawing. So really, that's all we can put on that one. Let's shift our focus up here to the top view, okay? Because we got a lot going on. Let's talk about it, all right? Well, we already know the depth dimension, and we also know from here to here, we already know that from this information that we put over on our right side view, okay? And we already know our overall width, all right? And we know from here to there how long that dimension is, okay? Because we know that that's 0.5. So we know that from here to here is going to be 1.5 based off of our dimensions, okay? So that's not something we need, all right? But what we haven't talked about yet is these holes. So right here we have 3 holes, and all 3 holes are exactly the same size. So what you can't do is put 3 leader lines on here, all dimensioning the same circle. So what I'll do is I'll come in, I'll click the circle, and I'll pull this out here to the side, okay? And then you can double click on the dimension to edit it, okay? And we're going to write X3, okay? X3. And then you just press escape, right? And what X3 means is this hole is the same as these 2 holes. So this dimension is the same on all 3. You don't have to list it 3 times. But what else did we forget? Well, these holes go all the way through, okay? So when we look here, those holes go all the way through the shape. We're seeing that here and here, all right? So we have to modify this again. We'll come up, and where I wrote X3, I'll just put a space and type in THRU, okay? All caps when you're dimensioning. Don't type in lowercase, all right? So it is a 0.25 dimension circle, and that is a through hole. It goes all the way through the shape, okay? Perfect, looking good, all right? Now, we also have these radiuses here, okay? So we can go ahead and throw a dimension on that, okay? We pull that out, and there's 2 of them. It's the same dimension, so I'll type 2, all right? So there we go. Both of our arcs here and here are dimensioned, okay? We dimensioned all of our holes, all right? Everything at this point is done, okay? Everything's done. The only thing that's not is we have to have our center lines. So at the top here, when I come up to the top, it says 2-point center lines, all right? And what that'll let me do is when I come over here, I can click and click, and it'll put the center line in, okay? We have our center mark, okay, which is the plus sign in the center of our circle. But to indicate the center of that going through our shape, you'll remember back when we learned um, multi-view drawings, we talked about center lines. Okay, so we got to have our center lines on here. And if we come over here, this one also needs a center line. I don't know if it's going to do it on this one. No, it didn't, unfortunately. Okay, so this particular drawing, the way that OnShape works is when this drawing arcs and comes over where this arc stops, it creates this line here. And this line is equal with the center line. So you'll see when I drew that center line there, it didn't necessarily show up. So that's unfortunate. We can delete that line. All right. So you're not going to be able to put a center line on this particular drawing because it's exactly the same. But I will tell you, it's not always going to be like that. That you're not always going to have this imaginary line that OnShape decides they want to put there for you. That's not going to be blocking your center line. So anytime you have a circle, follow it across, make sure you put the center line. All right. Now that's also happening down here. Okay. Now this would need 2 center lines here and here. All right. But on our front view over here, we have those same 2 lines. So it's not going to let me draw them there. But on our right side view, okay, this arc comes over and this line blocks where the center line would be. But you'll notice over here, it doesn't have one. So you have that opportunity to come in and put that center line in. So we'll come over and I'll click there. and I'll click there, and it puts the center line in for us. Okay. Unfortunately, there's no way to turn these particular type of lines off. So it's blocking where our center lines would have been. You just got to go with it. Okay. That's just the way that the program is set up, and there's no way for us to change it. All right. So here is a difficult drawing that I did not put a whole lot of dimensions on, and the whole thing is fully dimensioned. So when you are dimensioning your two drawings, okay, let me take a look here at the sheet. So I asked you guys to dimension number 11 and number 16, okay? Be careful, okay? Don't put too many dimensions on it. Don't over dimension it, okay? Make sure you're putting those center marks. Make sure you're putting, if it's a through hole, that it's a through hole, that it goes all the way through the shape, okay? Don't forget your center lines. It's a lot of good information in this video. And even though this isn't one you're particularly dimensioning, because I didn't want to do the exact one you were, this one is very similar, okay? Number 15 and 16 are very similar. So this is 15. You don't have to do this one. And you're going to be doing number 16. So they're very similar. Please use the same process when you're going through. If you have already started doing this, I would watch this video and then go back and modify and make changes after you're done watching it. Okay. So I am going to stop sharing my screen, and I'm going to end this video. If you have questions, I want you to reach out to me. I will talk to you soon, and you have a great day.